say anything or introduce or talk about the trip for a minute?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello, everyone. And this is going to be our third river cruise now that we're doing, and going to the Portugal and the Douro River Cruise. And we have Judy here with us. She's going to go through the tour and talk about, the cruise. Some of you've been on an Emerald cruise before. Oops, sorry about that. It's a little guy there. And yeah. And she's gonna, just talk about the cruise, and if you have any questions at the end, we can go over those as well. And
Right.
the
And
floor is
actually,
all yours.
We'll do, if it's too many questions or whatever, I just want to say they can always email you and then you can reach out to me later. Because I'm going to sign off. I've got another travel show to go to, unless they're really detailed questions. I may just have them email you. But thank you. Welcome everybody to Warther Tours, an amazing travel treasures. They're promoting the Portugal and the Douro River Cruise next September 2024. And you might think that's far away. Oh, I'm going to wait a little while. Well, I wouldn't wait too long, because we're going to get free airfare for you when you book by April 30th. But what's more exciting is, I don't know if many of you know, but on the Douro River is a little bit different than our Rhines, our Danubes, and the ships are smaller. The rivers are a little bit smaller, or rather the river is smaller, and it's not quite as big as our other ships. So we're looking at about, I don't know, maybe 110 or 125 people or so on the ship. So much less than 176 people that would be on a Danube or a Rhine tour. Also, it's about the cabin category you want. If you want to pick a certain cabin category, you definitely want to book early, because we're going to give you that cabin number right in the very beginning. And you don't want to sit there and go, I waited too long and now I have to either pay more money for a cabin, or you're not going to get that cabin that you want. So let's get started, shall we? I just want to tell you some of the things that you're going to get, some of the perks that you're going to get on this trip. Transportation is going to be taken care of for you. That free air offer, so the air will be taken care of for you on this. Your international transfers are going to be taken care of for you on this as well. Really nice accommodations, not just on the ship, but what we do offer you on this is 2 nights in Lisbon. So we're flying into Lisbon, Portugal. We're going to do some touring around Lisbon. We're going to go to Coimbra before we drive over to Porto. Now, all of your luggage will be handled once you arrive in Lisbon. So you're going to land in Lisbon. There'll be a representative, an Emerald representative will meet you at the airport. Once you come out of customs and you have your own luggage, they'll walk you over into an area, and everybody will go over to that coach to be transported over to your hotel. But once they get that luggage underneath that coach for you, it'll be waiting for you in your room later. Then you're going to bring it outside of your room to be taken out when we go to the ship later. So your luggage will be handled for you. We've got a professional Emerald's activity director on board. We're going to talk about them in a little bit, because they plan all the fun for you. It's not just about walking around touring. There's other fun things that you're going to be doing, like hiking and things like that, even biking in Porto later on, if you feel like doing that. There's a wellness instructor on board as well. And that's always nice, because when you're going to be around touring, sometimes people like to get up a little bit earlier before breakfast, maybe do a little yoga stretching. They'll have that every morning, probably around 7 a.m. We'll have local step-on guides and historians taking us around all these beautiful parts in Portugal and even in Salamanca. And then we'll have, oh my God, the unique dining experiences will just be never ending. As well as the unique wine experiences. And then we also have a guaranteed share program on this trip. And that's for those single travelers. We're getting older. A lot of people really want to get out and travel now, but they just can't talk their friend into going. Maybe they're a widow. Maybe they just can't find anybody to go with them on this trip, and they don't really want to pay that hefty single supplement. So we would be more than happy to try to find them the same gender, non-smoking roommate. And if they're open for us doing that, we would certainly try to link them up with somebody prior to departure. And if we cannot find them a roommate, they'll get that cabin to themselves at the twin rate. Now, these are not good in the grand balcony or the owner suites, but any other cabin is fine. Now, we use personal listening devices, and these are great. They're called audio whispers. They're just like this picture right here, little radios, I guess you can say. They go right around your ear, and it's really a wonderful way to relax when you're walking into these different little ports or walking around Salamanca. You don't have to be standing right next to your guide. You could be way in the back if you want, browsing and look at all kinds of things while you're still listening to them. I love those. So let's get started. This is going out September 4th to the 14th and with free airfare. Now, this is one of our Emerald Activities cruise managers, Nina. We had her on our Danube River Cruise, and she was absolutely wonderful. So not only do they arrange the excursions that's going to be happening for you on this tour, but they're also going to be helping you if you've got any questions. Maybe you want to go see something else in port. They're going to be handling all of the Emerald Actives, the Emerald Pluses, and the Discover Mores. And we'll talk about those here in a second. So free airfare, transfers in your destination, all of the gratuities are included. Can you believe that? That's great. All of the gratuities are already included on this. There's going to be some complimentary beverages for you. Those are those beer, wines, and soft drinks. 24-hour coffee and tea is 24 hours, and beer, wine, and soft drinks are during your lunches and dinners. We'll have wonderful food included, and then those personal headsets. Now, here's 3 different things. If you guys are following along and were emailed your itinerary or flyer, you can follow along, and you may be looking at the bottom of some of your pages where it's got a little key on the bottom, and it might say Emerald Plus. Well, an Emerald Plus is something that we give you a little extra perk. It's going to help you gain a deeper understanding of each of these destinations. Maybe we're going to teach you how to do a little Portuguese cooking class today. Maybe it's going to be that tuna band that we're going to see in Salamanca, or it could be a sunset illumination cruise in Porto. And then for those people that like to remain active, you know, river cruising is not for 80 and older. Okay, that is a myth. Okay. I think I went on my first river cruise probably when I was around 40 or so. I can't remember, but I know my assistant went when she was only 21 on the Danube and absolutely fell in love with it. And there's a lot of people that are younger, and nowadays people are really trying to take care of themselves, getting their steps in, getting active. So we do have Emerald Actives as well. So if they don't want to partake in particularly something that might be operating at the same time, they might be able to do a canoeing excursion. Maybe they want to do that hike during the vineyard and learn about the grape growing process and how to make wine. There's even a really cool bike tour in Porto that takes you out to the Atlantic Ocean. So a few different Emerald Actives. If it's not for you, you just don't take part in it. Now, I know here it says that there's bicycles on the ship. There's not bicycles on the Douro River on our Emerald Radiance ship for reasons because there's nowhere really to ride them along the Douro. But we are going to be taking part of we'll have e-bikes as an opportunity for you if you decide to do that in Porto. And then we've got Discover Mores. Now, these are optional tours. They do cost additional money. But I'll tell you right now, if you're going to be going to anywhere in Europe or anywhere that's, I mean, when's the next time you're going to possibly get out here, you may want to expand your vacation. You want to just do as many things as you might want to be able to do. And this is where you can do those with your Discover Mores. Maybe it's going to be going to the Mateus Manor House and Gardens. That was a very, very cool little excursion that I did. Maybe you want to go to the Taylor's port wine tasting. There'll be several of these offered throughout this cruise. And here you go. I say amazing. When you have an amazing vacation, that could be thirsty work, right? Don't worry. We have complimentary tea, coffee. They're available at all times throughout your cruise, but to accompany your lunches and your dinners, they've carefully chosen special selections of your European red and white wines, local beers, and soft drinks for you to enjoy with your meal. Now, there's also, for those of you that go, well, wait a minute, what about the cocktails? I want a cocktail. If you decide you want a cocktail, whether it be anything, Bloody Mary, a bourbon, everybody's drinking the old fashions again. Certainly just, oh, hang on a second. I'm sorry. That's a little bit too loud on there for me. Let me turn that down. You can just buy a drink and then you sign your name. Okay. Sign your name on a ticket. And then they collect all those tickets at the end of your cruise. And you can just pay that by credit card at the end of the duration of your cruise. If you want to do a drink package, you can certainly ask about those on the ship. And you can buy those ahead of time. It is for the duration of the cruise of a whole 7 nights. You can't just buy one for Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of thing. But you can definitely do a drink package, whether it be non-alcoholic package, a full extended spirits package, or just a wine package. Okay. I like to just throw in some pictures when I was river cruising of different types of meals that we have. Of course, the wine and the desserts. The desserts are always my favorite and special treat. But here's a little bit of a map of where we're going. You guys, we're flying into Lisbon. We'll spend 2 nights there. When we're done doing our touring and enjoying some time on our own in Lisbon, we're going to motor coach over to Fatima, and we'll learn all about the shepherd's children that saw the apparition of Mary. And then we'll head over to Coimbra. That was really very cool in Fatima too, by the way. And then we're going to head over to Coimbra. And I'm telling you right now, I'm thinking that's where Harry Potter was created, because all of the people at this university that we're going to stop at are all in the cloaks like Harry Potter. And then we'll continue on into Porto. We'll check in on our Emerald Radiance river cruise before we start going down the river. Now, one thing I will tell you is that on the Douro, we only sail at night. I'm sorry, we cannot, what am I thinking? We cannot sail at night. We only sail during the day. So there'll never be sailing at night. And that's what's really nice, because you're going to be able to sit out on that sun deck. There's a pool on the top deck, a little infinity pool type of pool that you could just relax at, have a nice cocktail or a nice iced tea, take in the sun and the beautiful surroundings. It's such a tranquil, peaceful river. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So here we are in beautiful Lisbon. Let's see here. I found Lisbon to be quite a beautiful surprise. I couldn't believe how clean it was, for one. And I'm going to show you the hotel you're staying at. We're using a really nice property. It's called the Avanti Hotel. We'll use the Avanti Hotel. Right now we're using the Avanti Hotel, or it'll be similar or comparable to that. But right now we are using the Avanti. This is really only about a mile away from that little city center park area. And then you can continue down where there's restaurants and shops on each side that'll take you straight down to the water. When I went on this trip, I don't know, about 5 years ago or so, we were about 2 miles away. I still got off that airplane. I still walked all the way down to the water and back. There are Ubers and cabs and taxis everywhere, but this hotel is really lovely, centrally located. It's in walking distance to the cathedral, the Colosseum, numerous restaurants and shopping areas. I'll show you another picture, and maybe when we land. Okay, so you're gonna be met at that airport by a representative, and they'll take you right over to the hotel. Okay, now we always say, don't go to sleep. I know you're tired. It was a little bit of a long flight, but don't go to sleep. Just relax, unpack a little bit, get out, go for a walk, maybe even sit out by the pool for a little bit if you want, but don't go to sleep. We're gonna have a welcome dinner later on tonight. This is what I mean by how surprised I was of Lisbon. Look at the sidewalk. These are my pictures I took. Look at the sidewalk on the left. I don't know how long it took them to put all those little square tiles in and design all this artwork and design, but it goes on for miles. There's palm trees everywhere. There's statues of their leaders everywhere. It's really just beautiful and amazing. And then there's like little, I kind of called them kiosks, where you can just go pull up, grab something to drink, maybe grab a panini or anything to eat if you're hungry and want a snack, or just try something, instead of actually, because I was just walking around that day by myself and really just enjoyed it. As I continued my walk, I went to the fountain here. This is heading towards, if you look to the back, the buildings in the back, kitty corner to the left. I just cut straight across that and it'll take you out. This is like that park, that city center area. And if you continue walking, you will go all the way to the water. You'll get all the way down there to the water. And I highly recommend everybody try that. Now, later on that evening, I had a delicious dinner, and believe me, I ate all of that plus the dessert. I don't know what your dinner will be that night, but I had this beautiful roast chicken. It was delicious. And then that evening, you guys are going to get into bed, maybe stay up for a little bit. There is a wonderful little lobby bar that you can have a cocktail in if you like, but you will be tired. Get a good night's rest, okay? By the time you go to bed early, you're going to be ready to go the next day for our panoramic coach tour. Now, we had the most exceptional guide. She couldn't have been more than 26 years old and had so much knowledge of Lisbon and the history. It really is just an amazing city. And we are going to be driving around and having a panoramic tour first by coach. And they'll make a few stops too, because I got a lot of good trinkets. Whoops, sorry about that. We're going to stop at the monument to the discoveries. And when I say it's a panoramic coach tour, that means we are on a motor coach and we are driving around, but we are going to stop and let you out and take pictures and ask questions and just get some fresh air and take it all in, take in the surroundings. It's really kind of cool. This is a really cool building right here, statue. And then we see Bellum Tower. And then we're going to even go and head over to the Geronimos Monastery. Beautiful, beautiful monastery. We'll walk around here, take some more beautiful pictures. I love Europe. I love Lisbon. The architecture was just amazing. The history is great. We had some people with us here. We had some very happy travelers that were on this trip with me, and we were inside the Geronimos Monastery here. Now, on my free time, okay, so now our little tour is over, right? They made a few different stops. We stopped by the gardens, took a beautiful big long picture. We stopped, there was a little like flea market, I guess you can say, where you can buy scarves, hats, earrings, I mean, you name it. And you can barter with these people too, by the way. Now, this picture here is when earlier I was showing you a picture of the fountain. And I said I walked down to where all the shops were. These were what the shops were kind of like. There's a lot of mosaic tiles, and the rooster is well known as well here in Portugal. So we're going to learn about making these mosaic tiles later on the ship, by the way. But look at all these beautiful little knickknacks and things that you can buy. I just loved it. I had to take some pictures. These two ladies were on one of my other river cruises, and I just love them. They were from Vermont, and boy, were we surprised to see each other on this trip. So I said, hey girls, come on, let's go out for lunch. So after our walking tour, excuse me, our panoramic tour and a whatever tour that we were going around, then you have free time, okay? That rest of that day is for your free time. So we are on day 3 now. Day 1's flying. You arrive into Lisbon on day 2, have your welcome dinner, and then day 3 is when you do your touring, and then that whole afternoon and evening is on your own. I've got a couple recommendations for you, okay? So this is what I would recommend. What I did was I went out with a few people and we went and walked around that area, took pictures of sampled some pastries, had a beer, had some sandwiches, walked around and did our own little exploration, okay? That's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. But you can also look into a little research, maybe look into doing maybe a little food and wine walking tour. Maybe later on for dinner, you want to go to a photo show or something like that. I think I've got some pictures of those too. I'll show you in a minute. This was a beautiful woman I took a picture of. There's musicians everywhere in the market square. And like I said, maybe this evening you can look into booking a photo show with dinner. They're not very much money actually either. So this might be something you might want to try. Maybe you want to do a food and walking tour type of thing, that they walk you around in little neighborhoods. These are all different types of suggestions that I would just suggest that you could do on your free time. I love her dress. Look at the embroidery on that dress. And you'll have an opportunity to probably go out and buy a couple things like that as well. This is a beautiful shot I took. I went out with those ladies for dinner one night. We went up on the top of, I don't know, some restaurant or some hotel or restaurant that we went to, and I got this beautiful shot of Lisbon, and it was time to say goodnight to beautiful Lisbon. One thing I will also point out, when you're walking around, you are going to see the most amazing graffiti artwork, which we actually walked around and took a lot of pictures of. If that's something that you like, there are some amazing artists down there, and they've got them on some beautiful buildings as well. So next morning we have breakfast and we depart and say goodbye to Lisbon. And we are going to go to Fatima. And Fatima is where, if you've ever heard the story, and it was just a couple of years ago, actually, when I was there, it was like the 200th, I think, anniversary of the apparition of Mary. So a shepherd had like 3 children, and they all saw the apparition of Mary when they were out playing out in the field one day under this tree. And nobody believed them. They were bullied. They were made fun of. But they seen her twice. And by the 3rd time, there were 70,000 people that saw her. So, yep, there we go. 3 shepherds children under the holm oak tree. She first appeared on August 19th, and then again on September 13th, and on October 13th. That's when 70,000 people showed up to witness her last apparition. So we're going to spend about an hour or so here, and then we'll have some free time to shop. I took a picture of that tree because I thought there was like a holm oak tree there to take a picture of. Now there's this cross right here. So I'm going to go back one slide real quick. Oops, I went forward. That's okay. So when you first walk in, we were actually parked to the right. So if I was walking into this square, this basilica here would be on my right. Okay. This rosary would be on my left. There's a new church over on the left by the rosary. I would not go that way. I would go to your right. You want to go over here because this is where the children are buried in here. Their tombs are inside here. This is just another angle of it. And you can walk up, you can see kind of in the background there, the little steps that you can go up, nothing that anybody really can't do to get up there and go inside this church. Their tombs are in there. And also, I don't think I have a picture of it. Let me just look. No, I don't. Okay. Also over to the left, as you're walking up, there's a makeshift church that I guess is what it would look like 200 years ago. It's kind of like an outdoor shack. And when we were there, of course, there was a priest and tons of people praying. And boy, when they pray, I mean, they pray. They were on their knees. They had sponges on their knees that were rubber band around the backs of their legs, and they were crawling completely around this whole building on this hard concrete. Very, very, very passionate about their faith in Christ. And I found it extremely moving. You can light a candle. You can pay a couple of euros and light a candle if you like and say a prayer. And then there's going to be a little bit of free time as you go back over to the coach. There's a couple little shops right there that you can buy a beautiful rosary or any other type of religious souvenirs that you might want to buy and bring home and share with family and friends like I did. They were really happy when I brought those home. Maybe you even want to bring one with you, that if you do see a priest, maybe they can bless it for you if you see one. So, okay, sorry, I get a little teary-eyed when I talk about that. Next, we're stopping in Coimbra, Portugal. This was a cool little stop. We're going to have lunch on our own here, you guys. And we're going to drive in. It's a really cool city, and we'll have lunch on our own here. but it's all about the Coimbra University. We'll get out and tour this university. We're going to get out and probably talk to some of the students there. It's for medical students. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter's author, is that her name, I believe? I feel that this is where her inspiration somehow came from, of some sort. And when you see the kids all in their cloaks, they'll even kind of talk about it. There's a really cool Harry Potter store in Porto, and hopefully you'll get an opportunity to go check it out if you're a Harry Potter fan. We happen to be Harry Potter fans back at our house. I have a son who's 24, so a lot of Harry Potter was going on in my house growing up. As we get into Porto, Porto is just an amazing, beautiful city right on the water. I don't know, I can't say enough about it. You can see the bridge here in the background, that when you have free time, like that first night, like I said, we do not sail at night. Don't be afraid to go off that ship and go find some nightlife. Maybe you want to go out and just check out and have a nice glass of wine. Maybe you want to go out and listen to some music, do a little dancing. You can certainly do that. You can even walk across that bridge. So you're going to ask your cruise manager, your activities director, when you get on that ship, what can you recommend a restaurant for me to go to tonight? I mean, we're going to eat on the ship, don't get me wrong, but people do like to go off and explore a little bit if they want. And I know many people that have done that and go out and do a little dancing, or just go out and try a different type of wine just to get a little bit, a little bit more cultural in the area. Here's our beautiful ship, the MS Emerald Radiance. I'm going to show you some pictures now, so follow along, you guys. As she sails, this is going to be beautiful as we sail under all these bridges here in beautiful Porto. Just showing you a couple little of how the Douro looks. Just a beautiful, calm, amazing river. So this is starting out with our ship and the different staterooms. Okay, there's different categories and different pricing. This is the lower level category. Okay, and this is our categories D and E. It's about 160 square feet, anywhere between 155, 170 square feet, I guess you can say. Category D is middle to the front of the ship. E is middle to the back, and they're priced differently. E is lower than D. You can see a window in the background there, and that's our fixed window. It does not open. Okay. They used to have the beds right here, wonderful linens, wonderful comfy pillows. You can pull those two beds apart and separate them if you're going with a friend. Of course, you got all the same luggage, storage area under the beds and the dressers, beautiful TV, all the same amenities as any other room, just a smaller room and a fixed window. I highly recommend you get one of these rooms. These are the panorama balcony suites, and Emerald was one of the first companies to design this drop-down window feature with open air system. So all you need to do is push that button on the wall over there by the window. There's a little button. You can't really see it from here, but there's a button over there. And when you push that, that window comes down to about your chest level. Don't worry, you won't fall out the window. I always was worried as a fall out. You won't fall out. And then now you've got your balcony right in your room. Again, the beds can be separated or put together. Wonderful amenities, great shower, hair dryers in there. Don't worry, you got your mini fridge. Anything in the mini fridge, obviously, if you drink, you'll be charged for, but you can always store something in there if you bring something in there as well. Just really nicely appointed rooms. Here's our owner's 1-bedroom suite. This is a 285 square feet, and we've got 2 of these. 2. So if you are planning on getting one of these, I suggest you sign up right away, because there's only 2. So if you're celebrating an anniversary, special birthday, maybe this is your last trip to Europe and you want to get that one of these special rooms, go ahead and sign it up. These are beautiful. And these also have a little bit extra perks in these 1-bedroom suites. These also are going to get you your a complimentary in-suite minibar that's going to be restocked daily with beer, wine, and soft drinks. Okay, beer, wine, and soft drinks you'll get each day. They usually even might even let you use an iPad while you're out on the trip, while you're in there, to either take pictures or check your emails, We have complimentary Wi-Fi on this whole ship, so don't worry about checking anything as well. You've got a pillow menu. See the pillows on the bed over here? Those are going to be great. But why would you not change out the pillow menu and get the best pillows they have? Because I would, and that's what I did. And they were the most amazing pillows, and I slept so good. I've always slept good on these. Of course, telephone safe, those are in all of our rooms. You can get your continental breakfast. You can also do some pre-dinner canopies or an after-dinner sweet treats. Those are all going to be served to you right in your suite. And you're also going to get 4 items of laundry per day in an invitation to the captain's dinner table at the end. So this is kind of more of a special treat room. And this one's even better than the last. This is our Emerald Riverview Suite. There are only 2 of these, I believe. Hang on one second, give me a minute. I believe there's only 2 of these as well, because these are in the back of the ship. So these are all the way in the back of the ship. Again, only 2 of these, okay? And the reason why they're in the back, and you can tell, is look at the windows. It's a river view. You can do the view from your left and from the back. You're getting like 2 different views, all right? And this one is, I don't know if I've got it, this one's 300 square feet. And you're also going to get all those other great amenities that I had mentioned earlier in this suite as well. Just a really gorgeous room. I mean, very, very special room here. Now, all English, I just did a typo on that. English speaking Emerald Waterways crew, they're ready to wait on you. They're going to make you laugh. They're going to take care of your room. They're going to turn down your bed at night. They're going to put chocolates on your bed. Ooh, I want to mention something really quick. I was never a really big port wine drinker, which is one of the main wines in Portugal as we're sailing, and they go deliciously with deep dark chocolate. A lot of times they might put a chocolate on your pillow at night, and you might want to just save that for when you're sampling some port wine, or maybe when you're at the airport or even at home, bring yourself some really good dark chocolate. That's my tip for the day. Here's our Reflections restaurant. Breakfast and lunches are buffets, and your dinners are 4-course plated dinners. Of course, you're going to get just so tasty and beautiful, plus local beer and wine included with your lunches and dinners on the ship. They're always about the presentation. Now, on dinners, when I say 4-course plated dinners, they're usually going to give you your chef's selection, which I always like to take because the chef is telling you this is what he recommends. But if that's not something that you really want to try, you just don't want to do it, there are usually 2 other choices. And if you still are not happy with those choices, just tell them to make you a nice pasta dish or grilled chicken sandwich, or I'm sorry, grilled chicken or beef or something that would make you happy, because they'd be more than happy to help you with that. If you have any diet restrictions, gluten-free, diabetic, keto, vegan, anything like that, you're not going to have a problem at all. But please put that on your reservation form, because you are spending 2 nights in Lisbon, and we do have breakfast on the menu there. We do have that welcome dinner. And we also want to make sure that the chef on the ship is well prepared for the people that do have a dietary restriction. And we won't know unless you put that on your reservation form. Okay. This is something that I took a picture of. So if you want, say it's your first night on the ship and you're like, oh my God, that wine was so amazing. I loved it. Second night, they switch it out. They don't have that wine. And you're like, what was that wine I was drinking? My recommendation to you is, if you find a really good bottle of wine on the ship that they're pouring you, whether it be lunch or dinner, ask the waiter to let you take a picture of it, because you're never going to remember the name of that wine. But if you take a picture of it on your phone, you'll have it on there, and then you can go to the waiter. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't really like the wine you're pouring tonight as much as I enjoyed the one that you poured the other night. Do you think you can get me some more of that? And then you can show them a picture, and they'll bring it back. They'll bring it back over to you. Now we have a terrace area, and that's up in the lounge area. That's upstairs in the lounge, and it faces the front of the ship. You can see these people sitting here facing out towards the front. And up there will be, let's see if I get a picture of it. Sorry about that. Usually at lunchtime, if you don't want to sit down in the big, huge buffet and you want to be in a different area, they have food up there as well. Not nowhere near as much food, but there'll be plenty of food for you still to eat up there if you want to sit in a different little area. So check that out maybe one time. Here's our Horizon Bar. This is where all the fun happens, you guys. And you can see people like to relax. There's floor to ceiling windows on each side of the lounge. So don't worry if it's a little too windy or maybe you don't want to sit out on the top deck. You can always sit in the lounge and check out the sights. There's a little fitness center on board. Usually we have a hairdresser on board. If there's not one, I apologize. I know they're thinking about taking that out. Maybe people aren't using it as much as we would have thought. And then we've got the wellness area. We've got that wonderful wellness instructor that's going to do your yoga and things like that in the morning if you'd like to do that. But he or she is there to give you massages. Now they are at an extra expense, of course, but not really that expensive. And after you get done with your flight, or maybe you're walking around your next little tent, get a beautiful massage. You're on vacation. Why not? The sun deck is wonderful. There's a little walking trail around it because I know everybody wants to get their steps in. We highly recommend no jogging in the mornings. People are sleeping. Please don't do that. But there is wonderful areas to sit in the shaded area or out in the sun. Okay, there's that little serenity pool. You can dip your feet in the pool. It'll be hot up there probably, you guys. So why not put a little dip in the pool here once in a while? Bring your swimsuit. People don't care. If you don't want to put on a swimsuit, just go in a little shorts. Roll up your shorts and just stick your feet in there and relax. Why not? Get your Emerald Waterways waiter to bring you up a nice glass of water, iced tea, wine, something like that to help refresh you while you're outside. They might even possibly have a sun deck barbecue for you one day. They do like to throw those for you once in a while. And then those wonderful personal listening devices. So let's go on our journey, shall we? On the Portugal and Douro River Cruise. Look at this beautiful, amazing Douro. You've got all the wine vineyards going up the hillsides. As we're sailing down the Douro, you're going to see amazing almond trees. Oh my gosh, just so many different things on these hillsides. It's just going to be really, really beautiful for you to see. I've never really experienced anything like it, and I was just extremely relaxed and loved it. But it's a lot of twists and turns. You may even see rocks coming into play here and there, and that's probably all part of why they don't sail at night. Plus there are, oh, I didn't print it out. My coworker remembered that there's like 5 different locks. And one thing I'm going to tell you about right now is I think it goes from 35, 50, or one of them 75, all different changing of river feet. Okay, so when you go into a lock, your ship needs to adjust to that level of the river. Maybe the next part of the river is going down 35 feet or up 50 feet. That's what the Douro River does. And until back in the 80s, when they built the dam in 89 or 90, they had discovered all these fossils. We're going to talk about this in a minute here, but they finally built this big dam because all of this area was being flooded from the waters of all the different levels of the river. Were washing away these little towns. They're now able to finally build up some of these towns. And I think over the years, we're going to see a lot more ports opening up along the Douro. So when you sail the Douro, you're going to go up the Douro and you're going to come back down the Douro back into Porto, visiting different sides of the river. Oh, here it is. I knew I put it in here. So never forget there's 5 locks. It rises 38, 75, 78, 115 feet. And this is why tourism only started 20 years ago on the Douro. So this is the first river cruise ships, only started in 1993. They had to build the 5 locks before anyone could even cruise. And the last lock was just done in 1985. And you get to go up and down all of these 5 locks, up and down the river. Locks are really cool. This is a really cool lock right here, you guys. So get up on that top deck and start taking some pictures while you're out there. So we're going to have a full day of sailing along the Douro Valley. We're going to have a wonderful welcome reception and dinner tonight on board. And then we're heading into, let me just make sure I got my little page over here just to make sure I didn't forget anything here. we're getting into Pinyao. So we're heading into Pinyao today. This is situated on the river bend, surrounded by the terraced hillsides. It's also known for producing some of the best port wine. I remember we walked off and went into Pinyao. It's a small little town. Everybody can just walk off the ship and go in there. You can find, well, here's a picture of me, oh geez. Just taking I found some beautiful flowers in the backdrop with the ships behind me. So I took a picture. When I got off, cork is a big manufacturing of cork in Portugal. So they make all kinds of things out of cork. So I bought a baseball cap for my son. Of course, he didn't want it. So grandpa took that right away. And I got a cute little purse and a change purse. Now, when you get into Pinyao, you can actually buy these throughout everywhere in Portugal, but I liked them in Pinyao. There was a little market that had the cheaper versions, but if you rub your hand along the cork and it's super soft, it'll be more expensive. If it's cheaper, you're going to feel the roughness of it. Okay. So there is a little shop in Pinyao. It was situated up on this hill. And I went up there and I think that purse was only about maybe $30 or so. Same with the hat, nothing too crazy. So something you might want to buy for yourself. They have backpacks and everything. But this is a little town of Pinyao. And hang on, I'm going to just come back real quick. When you get off the ship and you're walking around, there's also a couple little restaurants out there, like a little outdoor cafe you can sit at. A glass of wine was $1. It was cheaper than buying it on the ship. Just go off and buy a glass of wine, unless of course you get the drink package and you want to have another glass of wine. So just wine is plentiful in Portugal, and they love to express themselves with wine. So if you want to go off and try different wines, please do that. Why not? You're on vacation, right? Tonight we're going to have a what do we call those, Emerald Plus, and it's going to be a little Portuguese cooking demonstration on board. It looks like this is one of those famous pastries that they have that you can try and learn how to make as well. Those are fun. That'll be probably in the lounge area, maybe. It might be, actually, it might be in the dining room. I'm not sure where they have those now. I thought it was in the lounge once, but either way. Here's another little picture I took for different types of delights of Portugal food. As we continue on, you guys, we are going to be going into the day with a beginning day of the visit to the beautiful 18th century estate to the Quinto do Tedo Vineyard. I can barely pronounce that. You can kind of see it right there. Let's see if I got a better picture of it. Look at the vineyards up this hill right here. Right on the background. You'll see plenty of these in the area. And we're going to go over to one, you guys, and we're going to learn all about the wine production and its importance in the culture and economy. And we'll enjoy a tasting of a local vintage wine here. Pretty entertaining. They're going to teach you all about how, from the grape making process. We'll do we'll probably do a nice little sampling as well. They'll probably talk about how their grandpa made the wine 150 years ago and how it's still in their family. Pretty interesting. I really enjoyed when I was there. They had these purple grapes. And I remember as a little girl, my grandma in Downers Grove had Illinois had a farm stand. I worked on her farm stand, and she had all along her driveway, she grew grapes. And that brought back the biggest nostalgia for myself to taste those grapes that were just so fresh right off the vine. I love it. Now, if you don't, let me just try to take a look here. There'll also be an opportunity for you to do a guided walk through the vineyard. That's not for everybody, you guys. Okay, it's going to be warm outside. I went on it. I did it. I did the guided walk through the vineyard. Again, teaching you about from the grapes. Here was our guide. Here was a little vineyard I went to. And we did an emerald hike. Please wear hats. It's going to be warm out. I didn't have a hat on. Make sure you have sunscreen on. Things like that. That'll all be in your documents. Don't worry. We'll give you some tips before you go. But if you're planning on doing the hike versus just going to the vineyard, they both run simultaneously at the same time. Okay. This also runs at the same time. Some of you might be like, oh no, I'm going canoeing, because we are going to offer you a guided canoeing excursion as well. These are what you call the Emerald Actives, and these both operate simultaneously, so only one can be selected, but we give you a couple options to choose from. Okay, guys, dun, dun. This is when we're going to Salamanca, Spain, our next day. So we're going to continue sailing during the day, right? And then we're going to dock in Vega Terron. And that's where all the ships are going to dock in Vega Terron. And that's where it's the closest highway that we can get on a coach and then drive over to Salamanca, Spain. Now, as you drive over, I don't know if I put any pictures in, look at this picture right here. As you drive over, they may make a stop because it's about a 2-hour drive or so. Beautiful countryside as we're driving over at first. They may make a stop for a little quick rest stop at, there's a meat market that's close by. And these are, what did he call them? Certain type of pigs that are really very expensive. I forgot how they make them, but just interesting just to look at. And when you're in Salamanca and you're walking around, you're going to see all kinds of meats and different things there as well. But now when we get to Salamanca, we are going to, during our guided walking tour, we'll pick up our guide. We divide it up into groups. You'll have your audio listening devices. We're going to see all the amazing detailed and intricately carved buildings of the university. Of course, the Plaza Mayor. This is where we met. This is where they used to have the bullfighting ring here. This is where we met our guide when I was on it. And then they gave us some time to do a little shopping in the area as well. Maybe go over to the market. The 12th century Romanesque Church of San Martin, Salamanca. There's a house of shells. Do you see all the shells on there? That's kind of cool. Actually, they're going to point out, they're going to ask you to find one that has a frog on it. I think it's a frog. And boy, somebody like me, I just couldn't stop staring at it until I found it. And of course I found it, but it took a while. And then you've got, we'll continue walking. You can see the streets here as we're walking here. Nothing too crazy, just absolutely beautiful. We'll get over to the Salamanca Old Cathedral. We'll go inside and enjoy that a little bit. We're going to have lunch on our own today. Maybe you want to check out the markets. I had, I still think about this to this day. It was a pastry that had like spinach and cheese and all kinds of yummy goodness inside of it. And they wrapped it up in a little plastic thing. And I just walked around and I snuck in there really quick and bought one and caught up to the group. Because when we did it, we didn't have time on our own as much, but now we have time on our own for you guys. And it was like €3 and it was so delicious. I highly recommend trying all different types of food there. And then we're even going to have entertainment by a tuna music band for you guys to enjoy in Salamanca. This is going to be one of those Emerald Pluses. Now we're going to have a Discover More today. This is going to go to, if you don't want to go to Salamanca, okay? For some reason, when I was on this trip, there was about 10 people that stayed back that didn't feel like going into Salamanca. Maybe they've already been there before. Maybe they didn't want to go on the coach and whatever, who knows? I don't know what reason it was, but we decided to add in an optional tour for those that don't want to go. Now, this one is to Castillo Rodrigo tour. And I did this tour and it was really very cool. So I'll tell you what happened when I went to it. So you're going to explore, this is a very small fortified village, perched high on the hilltop. They'll drop the coach off here. It's got the 16th century walls around it. And we're going to walk down to the charming, narrow medieval streets. You can see here in the picture there that there's the castle ruins there. All the orange top buildings are quarters and homes. And honestly, many years ago, the Jews fled here as well. And they helped them back during the war and stuff like that. After you go around your little guided walking tour with your guide and you're coming back out, there's a wonderful, wonderful gift shop. And I don't know if they still do this, but they did it when I was there. But they handed us out a like a little flute champagne glass or whatever, and it had a white wine in it. And now I only really actually enjoy white wine more so than reds. And they put a little drop of amaretto or an almond liqueur in it because it's known for all the almond trees in the region. And it just sweetened it up so nicely. And it was so refreshing after our walk out on this, on our little guided tour. I went inside the gift shop. They had little bottles of red wine. They had almonds, sugar coated almonds, all different flavors. Oh my God, to die for. They were giving out treats. So go in there, buy yourself some treats, buy some souvenirs to bring home or enjoy them on the ship. Really love that. We are going to now continue going back down. We're going to head back towards Porto, going back to Paquinco in Portugal here, where we are going to be disembarking for a morning tour to the Coa Valley Museum. Now, this is a design to blend in with its surroundings and museum's concrete structure houses prehistoric stone carvings made by the early inhabitants of the Douro, which were really just uncovered recently during construction of that dam that they built. So after we do this, we'll return to the ship for lunch and we'll relax on deck as the ship will sail through the surroundings on the way to Ragu. But before we do that, here's all the fossils. They found all kinds of fossils. So if any of you guys are science buffs and love that fossil kind of thing and stones and stuff like that, definitely going to enjoy this Coa Valley Museum tour. However, if you want to do something a little more crazy, it is extra money. It is called a 4x4 tour at the Coa Museum. So you leave from the Coa Museum in a 4x4. It says that it operates, this included tour and the Discover More operate at the same time. So you do one or the other. So this one you'd have to pay a little bit extra money for. It is $55. And it's about a 3.5-hour tour. Okay. Tour begins at the Coa Museum. You board your Jeep, drive to the area where the abandoned Coa Dam was being built, and onwards through landscape. So you're going to hear all about that information in the final part of the tour is on foot. But really cool. I think that would be a cool tour, but not for everybody. Might be for you, might not be for someone else. We have an Emerald Plus tonight, and we're going to learn how to make some port wine cocktails. So it's a port wine cocktail lesson on board tonight. Yummy. Just in time for you to come home and teach all your friends and have a nice barbecue and learn how to make a nice port wine cocktail lesson on board. And then as we continue on from Ragu, we're going to go journey by coach to a, oh, wait a minute, let me make sure that I've got this in order, right? Hang on a minute. We're going to do a dinner. Oh, is this tonight? Let me make sure about this. All right, well, whatever. Let me go back one. I'm sorry. We have a dinner at a vineyard estate. So I know you're thinking, what? Are you kidding? We've only had dinners on a ship before, not on the Douro. The Douro is going to have something very special for you. And we're going to take you to a beautiful vineyard estate where we're going to get out. We're going to learn about, again, the winemaking process from this person's family's vineyard. And there's those beautiful, delicious grapes, whoops, that I was talking about. Actually, when I did it, we walked into this estate. There was a gentleman passing out. I don't even know what that was. Some type of a liqueur that we tried. And then we went, after we walked around and learned a little bit more about the history of this family's winemaking process, the owner was actually very animated and quite funny. And then we all went inside the building where all the tables were set up. And it's just like dinner on the ship. You get your reds and your white wines. Just keep them coming if you like. And people are getting up and dancing later on. It's a 4-course plated dinner. Usually they talk about each plate and what that plate signifies to them and how it works well with the wine and things like that. This gives you a little bit, they call it like al fresco because all the windows are open. It really was a very cool experience. I was blown away. Thought it was really nice. So that's a cool treat, you guys. That's a really cool treat. And then we're going to go from Ragu. We're going to journey into heading out into Ragu, and we're going to go to Lamego. Okay, we're going to motor coach over to Lamego and home. This is the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Remedies. This is one of the most important pilgrimages sites in Portugal. So this is a view from the top. Okay, the coach is going to drive you up to the top. There's Our Lady of Remedies, the church in the background. Do you see it? Do you see the tiles on the stairs there as they're going down? Okay. So you have a choice. You can walk down all of those stairs. Going down is the easy part, you guys. It's 686 steps. Okay, 686 steps. They were not hard at all. But if you're older, you don't feel like it, or you're unstable, don't do that. We don't want anybody losing their balance. But it is really beautiful, and there are beautiful mosaic paintings or artwork on each level. That was really nice picture to take. There's a better view. There you go. There's your 686 steps. We made it all the way down. We took some beautiful, beautiful pictures. Actually, as you came down, I was walking down the steps. As you go down into town, which is down below, over to the right was a very small, tiny church. And it had one of those pictures that's only, I think, in the Sistine Chapel of Mary holding Jesus after he died. I cannot remember the name of the church. I just remember seeing that. And again, life enriching experience for me. There's a lot of different bakeries and shops and things in town. I don't think I took a picture of it, but we walked over to the smallest little restaurant, or there's a picnic table outside, and there is the owner, and then some gentleman was sitting there, and we went in, and it was me and the two girls, and we went in and we ordered 1 beer, 2 glasses of wine. It was €3. We couldn't believe it. We thought it was €3 each. They said, no, €3. We're like, okay, thank you. Sat down, talked to an owner. It's really nice to learn to talk to people from Portugal, just the nicest people. Now we're going to have a Discover More today, and this is in the Mateus Manor House, and this is an optional. This was built in the 18th century. It's one of the finest representations of the Baroque architecture in Portugal, and it consisting of the main house, then the gardens in the back, which are gorgeous. There's a winery and a chapel. Again, you can go next door. I went to go ask for a bottle of water. The water costs more than the glass of wine. And that's all I'm gonna say. And then on board, we're gonna have a wonderful mosaic tile painting lesson on board later before we get into Porto on our final time here in Porto. So let's see what else we do here. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna get the ship returns to Porto. Of course, this city is really mixed with an electric mix of modern and ancient architecture. We're going to have an included tour that highlights the sites of the scenic beauty and the historic landmarks of the Castelo da Faz and the Castelo de Coelho. For those who wish to learn to see the charms of Porto on foot, we'll give you an active walk through town. We'll bring you closer to the vibrant city. Look at this amazing view right here. You see the bridge I was talking about earlier? When you look at that bridge from a different standpoint, it looks so small and narrow, but you can see it's a wonderful walking bridge and all the people are walking across that. So we've got a couple things to do here today that you have choices of, okay? Let me just make sure we got this. I don't have the pictures of that, but this is the Castillo de Faz. You can go here if you'd like. The Castillo de Coelho is another opportunity. There's going to be a walking tour of Porto. I'm just going to tell you right now, it was not the easiest thing, even for myself. We did a guided panoramic tour, and then they dropped us off to walk down to the train station. And there were just some beautiful artwork, a mosaic tiles in the train station that showed the history of Porto. A very good story about it, but then you got to walk back up that hill. So not for everybody. However, maybe you want to go off and venture on your own and find that Harry Potter store too. There's going to be an opportunity to go to the Quinto de la Avelera with a Vino Verde tasting. So this is like a fairy tale like property. How pretty is that? Look at the bird. Renowned sparkling wine producer set on the estate boasting its incredible gardens. A highlight of this tour in the enchanting gardens. So you're going to get your coach transfer local guide, entrance to the state, and a wine and cheese tasting for only $55. I would definitely think about doing that. However, a lot of you guys are active bike tour people. We've got an active e-bike tour, e-bike, electric bikes. I'll tell you right now, if you haven't ridden a bike in 20 years, then I would not do this. Don't do it. Okay. We don't want anybody falling down and getting hurt. But it is a few hours of cycling around the Douro River and until the Atlantic Ocean. But a very, very cool opportunity for those of you that do. Here's Portugal at night. We're going to have a wonderful evening cruise through these enchanting waters, you guys. I'll leave that on here for just a second. I've only got that one picture here right now. I wish I would have shown some of my own photos, but I want to thank you all for being here today. Here's our pricing. You guys can get your flyer from Brian at Warther Tours. You can see here the cabins in level 1 are the lower cabins with that fixed level. Level 2 is the categories B and C, and then you've got your top level categories A, and then those Riverview and 1-bedroom suites. The deposit's $400. Final payments not till June 1st of 2024. If you would like a traveler protection plan, I highly recommend it. It's $569 per person. And we hope that you plan to join Warther Tours or Amazing Treasures on this, Amazing Travel Treasures on that. You can contact Mark or Brian at travelwarther.com. There's the phone number. I'd like for you guys to email them with any questions. I'm really, really sorry, but I have another travel show that I have to run to, and I'm running a little bit behind right now. I'm just gonna see if anybody did put anything on a chat. I don't see anything right now, but Brian, do you want to unmute yourself maybe? I don't know if you are busy. If he may be busy. You guys, this is being recorded. I want to thank you for your time today, and I certainly hope you enjoyed this presentation on the Portugal and Douro River Cruise. Thanks, everybody. Again, Mark at travelwarther.com or Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, at travelwarther.com. There's a phone number there as well. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Take care, everybody.
Yes, thank you, Judy.
Bye, everyone.